Hey guys, it's me Laura. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids ages 3, 11, and 13. And I also am the creator for the Ticket to Learning homeschool curriculum. Today, I want to share with you what my plans are for my kids for our upcoming unit. We'll be using Build Your Library Level 0 and also Level 7, combining them together. And today I'm going to show you what my plans are for those and how I'm totally adapting the curriculum to fit our needs, but how it's still so helpful to have the curriculum as a base for me. I am super excited to be using Build Your Library Level 0 and Level 7 with my kids this year for homeschool. Build Your Library Level 0 is a kindergarten geography year-long literature-based curriculum, and Level 7 is intended for 7th grade. And my kids are going to be, my littlest is going into 1st grade, my middle is going into 6th grade, and my oldest is going into 8th grade. So you can kind of see that they're on the peripheral of all of these grades, but I think this is going to work perfectly for what I need. If you've been around here for very long, you probably have caught on to the fact that we are typically a unit study based homeschool family. So we will do a unit for several weeks, and that's how we learn our history and science, and we tie in as much language arts as we can. Build Your Library is set up so that you go around the world continent by continent. So what I've done is I've separated each of those continents in both the Level 0 and Level 7. They go in the same order. So I'm honestly going through it just in the order that it's printed, but we're going to do one unit at a time. And we like to have a lot of variety in our homeschool, so we're probably going to plug in other unit studies in between this geography studies, and it's possible that it might take us 2 years to get through all of it. We'll just have to wait and see. The first thing I did when I got my curriculum was I marked off the different continents so that I could easily see where I'm grouping things together for each unit that we're going to be doing. I did that for both the Level 0 and the Level 7. I went through and I tried to figure out the books that we might want, and I went ahead and ordered those. I did my best to get them as cost effectively as possible. I have a bunch in the description of actually, I think pretty much all of my videos, at least the most recent ones, some links for how I get my books, where I like to get books from, things that can be cost effective to help out. But I went through and I picked out some of the books we already had. I gathered all the books together, and once those came in the mail, then I really started diving in. Before I plan any unit study, I make sure to set my goals for the unit, make sure that I know what our daily rhythm is and kind of what I need to plug in there. That's something that I've learned over the years. I used to let the curriculum kind of guide our day and guide our schedule. I don't do that anymore. We have a routine that works really well for us. Occasionally we need to adapt it slightly for a particular curriculum, but I try not to do that because our rhythm and our routine works well. I try to only change that if it's a need for our family that's not working anymore, not for the curriculum, because curriculum is a tool. For me, I know that I wanted to every day have a geography portion that we did together, one read aloud that we're doing as a family. For this unit, because this is such a literature-based curriculum, the way that a lot of these literature-based curriculums are is that you're reading several books in a day. And I wanted to cut back on that a little bit because too many books I like to do fewer books and go deeper than to do so many books. But I do want to assign books for my kids to read this time around. Some units I do have assigned reading for them, other units I don't, and that's something that we flex a little bit. So for this unit, I'm going to have assigned reading for them. And then for grammar and writing, I want to make sure that we cover that every day, do something for grammar or writing, something for spelling or vocabulary every day, something for science every day. And then I am going to have, Lily can be as much, my little one, she can be as much a part of all of this as she wants to, but I also want to be sure to have separate stuff for her that's tailored for our time together so that she can be kind of learning on the same theme from her Level 0, but it's tailored to her age. So that's how I have it set up here on my spreadsheet. You can see there are a lot of books in this curriculum, so I made myself a guide so that I know what books I'm talking about here in the chart so that they don't take up so much room to put the titles in. When I went through and picked the things that I want to do with my family and made it fit into the schedule that we have, it took a 5 or 6 week unit, and it's down to 16 days, which we do a 4-day school week, so that will take us 4 days to get through. That is the flow and the rhythm that's going to work for us. Now, one thing that I know with my unit studies is I have them planned. They almost always take a little longer than I have planned because there's usually a day or two here where we need more time. That's totally fine. I have that flexibility built in. I also have adapted this to where in this unit we have one main read aloud that we're doing, not to. And the reason is simply because there wasn't enough other content for me to be able to get through that read aloud in a reasonable amount of time. I also went ahead as a supplement for this and purchased a novel study from Teachers Pay Teachers. This is a creator that we have used before and that we have enjoyed. So I pulled her novel study in, and that became the schedule for our reading rather than what was listed in the Build Your Library curriculum. And the elements that I'm going to be pulling in from that are going to be the constructed response, some of those, as well as the vocabulary activities are the main two parts that I'm going to be using for that. And there wasn't enough other content for geography and science and whatnot for us to continue on with an additional read aloud. The other two read alouds that are scheduled, and I believe that this is a read aloud, is this one. This is Ancestor approved, which this one I think would be really good for my oldest, but I don't think that my middle would appreciate this one quite as much. So I plan to make this be an independent reader for my oldest. And then Brown Girl Dreaming, if we have time, we'll add it in. I may end up using it as an independent reader with one of my other kids, or I might just add it to our literature selection because I read one-on-one with them too. So this might be something that I do that with for one or both of them. So this will probably go in somewhere, but it's not scheduled in. For my middle, I have this as their independent reader. And so, like I said, the read aloud that we're going to be using is Walk Two Moons. So this will be our primary read aloud, and we will pull in everything from the Build Your Library curriculum to go with this, and we'll be using that additional literature guide for this. So those are the read alouds for my oldest. So with my youngest, this book is scheduled in the teacher guide, and then there are also some other picture books. So there are these animal stories from around the world, which I've tabbed the ones that are in the schedule that have to do with North America. And then there's also a couple books I haven't pulled yet that we have, Me on the Map, How to Make an Apple Pie and See the World. And then there's books like A Boy Called Slow, Carson Crosses Canada, and Dear Primo. And my plan is just to put these in like a book basket for her because we read together every day. And I'm not going to assign us to read certain ones at certain times, or just kind of have a number of options available. I'll probably check out some other books from the library. I'll probably pull some more books from my bookshelf that have to do with North America, and we will just enjoy reading together. I will make sure that we have probably one read aloud that we're doing that is a chapter book, and then a few other picture books. And from that chapter book, I will create little activities that go along with wherever she's at in phonics. So I can't line that up right now. I don't know how that's gonna kind of gel exactly, but I can very easily, just from when I do my phonics planning, know kind of where we're at, because I do that on a week by week basis and kind of pull in aspects from the stories that we're reading. For her, I also plan to do books from this series. It's Greetings from Somewhere, and so I'll probably start with this first book, and then they go around the world, so any books that have to do with whatever continent we're in at the time, I'll try and read that as well. So those are the read aloud for my kids. So now for my older ones, working on geography. For most of the Build Your Library resources, they're set up where you have a week grid like this that kind of goes over everything you're doing in the week. And then for each day, you have usually a page, give or take a little bit, of information that's notes that gives you more information, more details on things that you can cover or activities that you can do. So I just went through those and I picked out the things that I thought we were going to do. I know that for us, we're not going to be doing any of the art, so I took that out. I also took out the poetry. That doesn't mean that I didn't get the poetry book. I actually did, and I will be putting that in a basket for the boys, just like I have for Lily, so that they can go through and pick and we can go over those, but I did not schedule that in at all. For the rest of it, she has physical geometry, human geometry, and world religions. I put those all together in one category in my scheduling, and I often didn't separate things up as much as she did. I tried to put more together in one day. If you notice, this is true for almost all of these literature-based studies that have a lot of books. Torchlight, Sunlight, Bookshark, Build Your Library. I think there's a few others that I'm not remembering off the top of my head, but almost all of them, you'll see where you have one book and you read it multiple times throughout the week, just little bits here and there, little bits here and there, little bits here and there. That does not work super well for us, but that's okay because we have all the resources and it's super easy for me to pull it together, smash it down, do all of this one resource in one day, all of another resource another day, or to separate it however I need to. So what I have done is for geography, I have just put the resources in here, You can see I've got any reading that we're doing, any links that we're going to be watching, all of that, I have it right there. Then I wrote in the individual readings. So I already showed you the books that I have for my boys. So I just broke that up into the time frame that we had to assign those for them. And I pulled in the additional novel study, separated all of that out. And then I did the same thing with science, where I scheduled out the books and the activities in a way that works for us. So I'm going to show you real quick what some of the resources are that she has pulled and that I have scheduled. There's a few changes in here. This is, in the beginning, creation stories from around the world, and I think this is super cool. I'm actually excited to read this with my kids, and it has some gorgeous illustrations in there. So we definitely kept this in the schedule. We also have, this is one that's been on my shelf that I've wanted to go through with the kids for a long time, so I'm really excited to be able to use that now. It's your typical Usborne book, encyclopedia type book, but it's really nice because it has all of the quick links, which my kids really enjoy. So we'll be looking at that. So she had recommended the travel book by Lonely Planet for kids, but I looked at the two and I felt like this one is actually more up my kids' alley and something that we would like. They love looking at books like this. All of my kids do. So I went ahead and went with this one. So the page numbers are off for me, but it's very easy for me to use the index or the table of contents to find exactly what I need and to make that adjustment. This is another beautiful one, People and Places. This is a visual encyclopedia. It's a DK Smithsonian. So you've got lots of stuff in here as well. Then we have the Animal Encyclopedia. Again, this one's National Geographic. It's a little bit different. Lots of great pictures, lots of good information in here. This I had a long time ago, and I think I reviewed it, and then I didn't think I was going to use it because we kind of finished all of that stuff. So anyway, I had donated it to our library, but then I got another copy for this. I love the illustrations in here. Just talks about the different biomes and all the different things. So I think this one's going to be good for us as well. This is a story that we're going to read about migration. I think this is split up into a few days, which felt pretty good for me. So I think I followed pretty much the schedule that she had on this one. The Tree of Life, and this I think talks about Linnaeus's classification, I think is what this one's about. And then Mapping Manhattan. So this one's super cool. One of my kids is extra interested in map making, so I think that concept brought to this is going to be really fun for him. So those are the main books that we have for the oldest, the ones that I'm still keeping. I also have maps that I always keep in with my book basket so that we can always look up where things are. There's some that I took out, but we kept these and I just updated the schedule to what would suit our needs. As far as my little one goes, I did much the same thing. I went through, I picked out the activities that I thought she would want to do. I tried to group things together as best I could. And with her, I wanted things to be a lot more low key. I'm working on her math and her phonics and language arts and stuff separately. So this is kind of a way for her to apply some of the things that she's learning, for her to get knowledge about the world, and for us to spend good time together. So I don't really want this time for her to be super rigorous. I want it to mostly be fun. So I went through all the books. I picked the videos that I thought she would like, the activities that I thought she would like, and I made them on my own schedule. They don't match up exactly with what the boys are learning, but that's totally fine. And if she's learning with them and learning her stuff, she's going to get a lot of stuff. But a lot of times she's not really involved in their things. Sometimes she's off to the side and she'll listen. Every once in a while she'll get really involved. She often likes to be a part of the story. So I try to make sure that whatever book I pick for our read aloud is one that if she's listening in on, it's going to be okay. If I have something that's a little bit heavier, I'll probably usually move that to one of the boys' literature blocks so that I can read it to them one-on-one. Her schedule did end up going a couple days over the boys, but that's totally fine. I haven't decided yet what my next unit's going to be or how involved she's going to be in that. So her being off a little bit on the schedule is not something that concerns me at all. But I'm going to show you some of the books that she has kind of as her spines. There's this Flags Around the World, which I think she's going to really enjoy. We used this a long time ago when I did geography with my boys when they were younger. I think Timothy was about her age when we did that. It was From My Father's World, Countries and Cultures. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. It's been so long since I've looked at that. And this she is going to love. She is my child who loves workbooks, which I didn't think I was going to end up with a child like that. You guys, I love workbooks, and I've been so sad because my kids just they're not interested in them, but she likes them. So I'm really excited about doing this with her. She also likes to cook with me. I am so bad at cooking with people. I know I'm a homeschooling mom. I often feel like I should be in the kitchen with my kids all the time, but we have a teeny tiny kitchen. By the time I get to the cooking time of the day, if I'm the one cooking, because my husband does a lot of cooking now, but if I'm the one cooking, I just want to pop in my earbuds, listen to a podcast, listen to an audiobook, and just zone out and just enjoy cooking. So it's hard for me, but if I plan it ahead to cook with my kids and have a specific meal that I know I'm doing, I do well. So this is going to help us with that, and she's going to love it. She loves cooking with us. I had never seen this before, and you guys, I think this is probably my favorite around the world cooking book. The dishes are not crazy, so I feel like they're things that she might actually like, and so that's really exciting. And then this is one that I actually pulled in. It has been on my shelf and it's one I wanted to use, and I'm pretty sure that this is not in the list. I think that this is not in the list. I could be wrong. I'm like looking at it right now, and I know that sometimes I'm wrong about these things, but I'm pretty sure this is not on the list. It was on my bookshelf, and I wanted to add this in for her so that we could get a little bit of that religion aspect in that's more on her level. And so I can just pull in the parts that go with what we're learning. There's also this children's atlas that was recommended. I almost did not get this because we do have several atlases, but I really like the way that this one is laid out. I feel like it's really more accessible for her. I like it when there are just these little chunks of information, because if there's not a long attention span, we can just read 1 or 2 of those at a time, like here or here. We don't have to read everything, like maybe we just read this, and you know, she kind of picks and chooses other parts, but I feel like there's a lot more flexibility in a book like this. So I went ahead and got this one. The last one is similar to the other atlas. It's just got a little bit more age appropriate information. But what's so cool is if we find something in here that she's really interested in, we can always pull out some of the resources for her older brothers and dig deeper. And I think that that is just super great and a great way to kind of pull everything together. I feel like I've been a little bit all over the place in this video. Again, a lot of this stuff is just in my head, and I have such a hard time pulling out planning video things. But my hope is that this shows you a little bit behind the scenes of how you can really take a curriculum and make it your own. So this curriculum and the schedule and the way I have it set up does not look really much at all like the way that it was originally written. But it gave me such a solid base that saved me so much time. I didn't have to go find these books. I didn't have to research these books. I didn't have to think of what topics I was going to pull out, what I was going to do. Emily did so much work putting this together, and that made it so easy for me to take her work and adapt it to what I need to fit my kids where they are right now. I think that's one of the most important things when you're looking at curriculum, is that curriculum is a tool and you're teaching the child in front of you. And that curriculum, that schedule, those particular resources were not put together with your child in mind. So you can take what they have and use it and adapt it to the way that you need to work with your kids and your situation and your schedule and your routine and your goals. And I think that's the beauty of it. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions below. A couple other things that I wanted to let you know is that right now there is a sale going on at Build Your Library. That's part of why I wanted to hurry and get this video out. So the sale is from July 1 through 5. So it ends on Friday, and this is 2024 that I'm posting this video, and I will leave a link and all the information below. So if Build Your Library is something that you've been interested in, maybe it didn't quite fit and you weren't sure how to adapt it, and this has totally sparked your mind, feel free to check out that link and you can go see that. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I love to get to know you guys more in the comments, and I hope that you have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye. I put this sleep. I don't like it. Wake up! Wake up! My lighting is wonky. How do I fix it? My face is too wide for the screen. I'm so pale. Okay.